She was 5 months old when she vanished from her crib.
I need to believe my baby's been kidnapped.
Alright, Mammy, calm down.
Okay.
Alright, take a deep breath. What do you mean your baby's been kidnapped?
I just got up to wake my son up. My garage door was wide open. My house and my door was wide open and my baby's gone out of the room.
The kidnapping opened the eyes of a nation, but the wiretapping at the parents' house froze everyone's blood.
This is what reportedly was said. Marlene, they report you saying, the baby's dead and buried. It was found because you did it. The baby's dead. No matter what you say, you just did it. And then they have another one of you later saying, a month later saying, I wish I hadn't harmed her.
However, a job poorly done when tapping the house phones would end up turning this case into one of the most terrible mysteries in the criminal history of the United States.
All I can make of it is that the authorities had a very vivid imagination, and maybe from their years of dealing with less than desirable people, this is the scenario they came up with, or maybe they just watched too many police shows.
On November 24, 1997, the Eisenbergs' lives changed forever. Little sweet Sabrina disappeared from her crib. No one knew where she was, and despair engulfed her parents.
I just got up to wake my son up. My garage door was wide open. My house and my door was wide open and my baby's gone out of the room.
How old is your baby?
My baby is 5 months old. Oh God, help me.
The kitchen door was open, as well as the garage door. Plus, the alarm wasn't on, and the house dog never barked. The crime scene was very strange, and the police suspected from the beginning that something was off with the parents of the little girl, Marlene and Steven Eisenberg.
Tonight, we came here to pray for Sabrina. Tomorrow, we want to talk to the person who has Sabrina. Thank you for coming here to be with us.
Sabrina's face flooded newscasts all over the United States, and both Marlene and Steven initiated a huge campaign to gather information to find their daughter's whereabouts.
This was every parent's worst nightmare. You know, over the last couple of decades, we've had lots of cases where babies went missing. Unfortunately, most of those cases are resolved, and unfortunately, in most of those cases, the baby turns out to be We just don't know here. This case was a mystery in 1997, and it's just as big a mystery today.
The world came crashing down on them, and they didn't know what to do.
When your 8-year-old son asks when the next time he can come home and see his little sister smile at him as she crawls to him, what do you say? When your loving wife wonders aloud, how could this happen to us? How do you give her the strength and the hope for the future?
But of course, their tears and despair didn't convince the police. The Eisenbergs' story wasn't very credible, and so they immediately became the object of suspicion.
I think because of their story, because of statistics weighing heavily against the Eisenbergs, police, like me, raised their tentacles. It didn't fit together. All of that didn't make sense at first blush. Police then focused almost solely on the Eisenbergs. And that does make sense that they would. They went to a grand jury where, in the matter of their missing 5-month-old girl, Sabrina, they both pled the Fifth Amendment. They invoked their right to remain silent as the grand jury investigated the disappearance of baby Sabrina.
The case showed no light at all. There were no clues as to Sabrina's whereabouts, and no one really seemed to know anything about it. The decision at the time was to tap the phones at the Eisenbergs' home to see if they could find out anything. However, there was only one problem, a big one for the police.
They got a warrant, as they should have, to put in a wiretap in the Eisenberg home. Now, the wiretap existed in the bedroom, the Eisenberg's bedroom, and their kitchen, where police rightfully believed that most conversations would take place. From that point on, the case went right down the tubes because apparently on the wiretap were two rookies that had never done wiretaps before. So as the police built their case on the wiretaps, what they said they could hear, nobody else could hear that.
You couldn't understand anything. Still, the police built their case on that and pulled out some statements that supposedly came out of the wiretapped phones.
Marlene, they report you saying, the baby's buried, it was found because you did it. The baby's no matter what you say, you just did it.
Both Marlene and Stephen were charged with obstruction and concealment of information in their daughter's case, but neither was convicted on those charges. As for Sabrina, 25 years have passed and the case is still unresolved. Her whereabouts still a mystery. The Eisenbergs have done their best to keep the search going and are hopeful that their little girl will turn up. In fact, from time to time they release images of what she would look like now in her late 30s through software that shows the development of a person over time.
25 now, and you know, we've been married 36 years, and you know, it's like our family is still whole and together waiting for her to come home. And that's what we want, you know, more than anything.
The truth is that the case of Sabrina Eisenberg was one of the most talked about child disappearances at the time, until several years later when Madeleine McCann's case occurred. The incredible thing is that so far, none of them have been solved.